So welcome to this short presentation on the 3 key reasons holding you back from breaking through to your next level of income. Now, rather than do a deep dive masterclass, today I wanted to give you a high-level overview of the key areas that I see my clients struggling with when they want to break through to their next level of income, whatever that may be, whether that's going from a loss in your business to making consistent, 1 to 3K a month, whether that's breaking through to 6 figures, or whether you're already at 6 figures and you want to go higher, but you don't want to work so hard. You want it to be more easy, more joyful, and just less stressful. So today I'm going to cover 3 areas, and we're going to just dive straight in. And the first one is all about your relationship with money. And we're going to talk about the different aspects of your relationship with money and how it stops you breaking through your money glass ceiling. So we're going to cover money mindset, which is quite common. A lot of people do work around money mindset. We're also going to talk briefly about your money personality. And yes, you do have one. And what I find that people don't talk about is your emotional response to money. So we're going to talk briefly about that as well today. So let's start off with your money mindset. Now, mindset generally is about the way we think and talk to ourselves. And this influences our actions and our behaviors, and therefore our results. And when it comes to money, we get programmed, if you like. We get stories and beliefs that we take on board as being true from a very early age. Now, this happens with anything. Like we're in our first years, our formative years, we are just learning to be human. And what we do is we mimic the people around us, which is normally our parents or close caregivers, guardians. And we'll take on the actions and behaviors and even thoughts of those people. So just have a think at the moment, like, what did you hear your parents or caregivers saying when you were young? Were they things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or there never is enough money, we're always struggling, this is so hard, or people like us don't have those sort of things? Or maybe it's the filthy rich. These sort of things we take on board into our unconscious, and they become our truth if we're not careful. So I want to share with you, when it comes to business owners, and especially those business owners who have come into their business to do what they love. There's basically 2 types of entrepreneurs, if you like. There's those that have come in to chase big money numbers. They're really ambitious, and it's all about making as much money as they can. And then there's those who want to do work that they love. They really want to make a difference to others, and they're really heart-centered, and they tend to be the people I work with the most. And yes, it's possible to earn lots of money, but often their thoughts about money and about themselves hold them back. And this is why it's really important to start identifying this and bringing it out into the light. So I want to talk about 3 money mindsets that can stop you overworking or keeping you stuck at a certain plateau. And the first one is, I love what I do, but it's not about the money. Now, I hear this a lot from people in this field, and there's an underlying belief here that is keeping them stuck. And it's normally actually a fear of not being liked. It's they tend to say this to reassure people that, oh, I'm not greedy. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it because I want to help you. Please like me is the underlying message, even if you're not consciously aware of that. Another one is believing that if you want to make more money, you're going to have to work harder. Now, yes, there could be an element of your strategies are not right for you. So the only way that you can see that you can make more money is to have to work harder. However, again, there's normally a limiting belief underneath this about not being good enough and having to prove myself. And another one is, I don't think I can handle it if I get more successful. And this is about taking on psychological responsibility for other people's results. And again, this can happen a lot with heart-centered entrepreneurs because they really want to help people, and they're so supportive and helping that if their clients don't get the results, they take that on themselves. And so if that has been the case with one or two clients, they don't want to be more successful because, well, what if their clients aren't that successful? They'll take that to their heart. What does it mean? What does it say about them? It can also mean a lack of trust of others and that they're not willing to ask for support. So these are really dangerous money mindsets that you might have. So just put it out there to you to have a think about, do you say any of these things to yourselves, whether or not out loud, but do you say these? Do you think these? The second element we're going to talk about with your relationship with money is your money personality. Now, we each have a different identity in relation to money, which needs to be honored. Now, I work with sacred money archetypes, and there are 8 different archetypes. And again, I'm not going to go through all of these today. I have run workshops around this before, but what I want to do today is just highlight that you do have a personality and identity in the way you behave around money. And this is really important to know as well, because often, and especially if we're different, if we've got different personality to the majority of the people in our, in our family, for instance, we can kind of start adopting behaviors that don't feel comfortable for us because we're trying to fit in with our family. Or we might look like a rebel to our family because we're doing something different. And we're being outcast because of that. So there are, like I say, there are 8 different personalities. They all have their gifts and their strengths in relation to money, but they also have their challenges or their shadow side. So, for instance, let's take the accumulator, for example. The accumulator is absolutely great at saving money and managing money, and from the outside looks like, oh, they're really perfect with money, like they wouldn't have any problems. However, these people may be reluctant to invest in themselves or their business, and therefore staying small, like really contracting and not allowing the expansion, and they're not willing to take any risks when it comes to money. Now, on the other side, we could take a look at the maverick. The maverick loves to take big risks. They understand financial, like complex financial structures, and they're willing to take big risks. They go all in when it comes to money. But their shadow side is that if they're not careful, they can become addicted to the thrill of going all in and going for something bigger all the time, and therefore they can spend more and more. And the shadow side of the maverick is that of the gambler. So just by sharing those two, I want you to see that depending on which personality you have, it's going to influence your business, because let's face it, money influences every aspect of your business. So therefore, your identity around money impacts your behavior, and that's going to show up in your business. So you really want to be operating from the power, the positive side of your archetype when it comes to your business. Now, I do want to say something here, and that is our money archetype influences our behavior around money, but I don't recommend that you use your money archetype in order to grow your business. I use different archetypes for that, and it's shown up time and time again for my clients that your money archetype is not the basis of building your business, but you do need to understand it and understand how your behavior around money is expressed through your archetype. So as I've just said, there's 8 money archetype. They all have strengths and they have shadow sides, and they influence your behavior around money. So they're going to have an impact on how much money you bring in and get to keep, depending on, if you're operating from the strengths or the shadow side of your archetype. And the third element regarding your relationship with money is your emotional responses. Now, we can experience financial trauma, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in a minute, but any sort of trauma gets held in the body and within our energy system, and it can be triggered by emotions and memories. And when that happens, we will act in a certain way, or we will not act. It actually triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response, similar to stress. And so we need to understand whether this, we've got some of this going on in our body, because our emotions impact our consciousness. So, as I said, the financial trauma triggers fight, flight, or freeze response. And I want to talk a little bit about, what do I mean by financial trauma? There are things like divorce or death, really big events in life that can cause hardship or difficulty around money that would be classed as a financial trauma. There could be things like war or persecution, where you have to leave your home or leave everything behind. And that could be in a relationship as well. It could be like you just need to get out and you leave everything and you lose everything. It could be bankruptcy, where you've got yourself into financial difficulty and you lose everything. Now, this can happen to you, or especially when you're a child, it may have happened. One of these things could have happened to your parents, and therefore you've taken on unconsciously their responses, their emotional responses into your energy field or into your body, and you're still carrying that. And this might be totally unconscious to you, but you could still be carrying that. So you may not have experienced it yourself, but being in an environment where your parents had really experienced that, you may not have known what you would have experienced it, but you may not have understood it fully at the time, but you would have taken on those feelings, and therefore when feelings like that come up again, it's going to trigger that financial trauma. Now, I'm not an expert in trauma, I'm going to say that, but when people talk about trauma, they distinguish between a significant trauma like that and other traumas that don't seem as significant, yet are still very much a trauma. So, for instance, as a child, maybe just being brought up where money was tight, or like a single parent family or something like that it's still, as an adult, you may be able to cope with that, but as a child, it may have felt quite traumatic. Maybe going to school with secondhand clothes or something like that, and the way you were treated, it all adds to how you behave and think and feel around money, and it will trigger these emotional responses, and we need to be able to release those and let them go. So it's really important that we understand what's going on there. And also, there are different levels of consciousness. Now, if you've done any work or if you've read anything about consciousness, we now know that there are different levels of consciousness. And, you know, and this isn't woo, it depends whether you come from a metaphysical point of view, spiritual point of view, or a science point of view, that everything is energy and everything vibrates. And that includes ourselves. And what impacts our level, our frequency of vibration is our emotions. So we need to be aware of what emotions that we are running all the time. And this goes with anything, but again, in particular, in relation to money. So it's really important to understand this, because this impacts our ability to attract or manifest money. If you want to use that word, and I'm sure you've heard of law of attraction, maybe law of vibration. Like I say, that's the metaphysical explanations of it. There is a lot of science around it as well, especially on the quantum physics side of things. Again, I don't have time to go into that today, and this is meant to be a high level overview. But I want you to be aware that actually your emotions are affecting your consciousness, and therefore your ability to allow money to flow into you. And then just really following on to that, there are some emotions that are a very low vibrational frequency. And in particular, they are shame and guilt. These two emotions have a lower vibrational frequency than fear. And if we're carrying any shame or guilt, especially around money, then again, that's going to impact our ability to have money flow to us. So we need to be looking at, are we carrying any shame or guilt that needs to be released so that we can allow more money in. So I'm just going to share very briefly here a testimonial from John, who worked with me, who had a really big upturn in profits, because we worked on helping him understand really some of the value of what he brings. And, you know, it really raised his confidence. And this is what I'm saying about the vibration. By changing your emotional state, it can impact how you show up in your business, and therefore how much money you get, the types of customers you'll attract. And to a certain extent, you won't even think that you anything's changed, but things have changed on the inside that impact your outer results. So let's look at reason number 2, why money may not be flowing to you. And that could be because you have a low level of self-worth or low level of sense of value. And your sense of worth or deservingness shows up in different ways and impacts how much money you get to ask for, to receive, or to keep. And this is really where we was now before talking about your relationship with money. This is now talking about your relationship with yourself. So again, I'm going to very briefly talk about 3 areas here, but the first one is about your identity and self-concept. Now, I talked a little bit about your money personality, but your identity and self-concept is about how you see yourself. It's how you describe yourself, some of the labels you might use. So, for instance, you might see yourself as a freelancer, or you might see yourself as a business owner, or you might see yourself as a professional, or you might see yourself as a CEO. And these labels that you use change how you perceive yourself. And so it's really important to understand, what identity do you have about yourself in relation to money and wealth and your business? And how are you talking to yourself on a daily basis? And, you know, this is really, really important, because your identity will impact whether you can earn 50,000 a year or 50,000 a month. It has a massive impact. The second element here, which is again linked, is owning your values. So this is about, what are your gifts? Do you know what your gifts are, your natural strengths and talents? And do you really own them and embody them? Okay, because this is what makes you unique, and your value, your true value, lies within. Roger Hamilton says, wealth is not how much money you have, it's what you have left when all the money is gone. And what he's saying there is that it is about your like I say, your talent and your strengths. And, you know, this is why entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or even Donald Trump, when they've lost everything before, they have the confidence to go out there and make that money back really quickly, because they know it's not about the money, it's about the value that they bring. And money flows to where there is value, always, always, always. So we always need to be looking at, what value do we bring? And when we are in a service-based business, or we're selling our expertise, it's very much about ourselves. And if we can really show up like, oh, I'm not that good, I'm not good enough for this, and that comes across. And if you don't own your value, then why will anyone else? So it's really important that you understand the value that you bring and how that impacts other people, because we take our strengths for granted and we think everybody can do the things that we find easy. So we have to really understand what it is that we do that is easy for us and difficult for other people, because that's where our value lies. And the third element is our sense of self-worth. And I do want to say here that your level of worthiness, what I'm talking about here is about how you see yourself, because I'm going to say that you are worthy just as you are. Like, everyone is equal, everyone is worthy and deserving. But if you don't believe that, and if you don't see yourself as being deserving, then, and this links back to our beliefs around money and to our identity and self-concept, then if you don't believe that you are deserving, again, money's not going to flow to you. So it's really important that you own your value and you own your sense of worth. Okay, and like I say, you are worthy as you are, but you need to believe that. And I just want to mention Victoria here, because I know she's someone who will openly admit that she had a very low sense of self-worth when she came to me. And especially after the pandemic, she had got into a lot of debt, because she was doing a lot of massage work, and her business basically had to shut down. And when she came to work with me, like, when I understood all the experience that she had, there was so much there, but she did not see the value of what she brought to her clients. And, what we've done is brought everything that she's done for years and all her years of knowledge and experience together into like a couple of offers that she can put out, and really see again that the results and the value that she brings to her clients, this has been a complete game changer for her, and really made a difference. So but it starts on the inside. It's not all about strategy. I'm going to talk about strategy in a minute, but it's not all about strategy. It is about you seeing your value, owning it, embodying it. And I can't stress that enough. And then we will talk about strategy. So, up until now, I've been talking mostly about the inner work. Your strategy does matter as well, or the type of, strategies that you're following in your business, because if you feel like you're always pushing and striving and overworking, then you're making it really hard for yourself, and that's when you're likely to give up, or you feel that you can't step away because it's all going to fall down. And that's often because you're just not using the right strategies in your business. Now, I don't teach my clients a particular strategy of like, you've got to do your business or your marketing like this. I help them to see what suits them. But there are a few things that I do work on quite a lot. And this is around empowered pricing. So this is really about pricing for profit. And although that might seem obvious that we should be pricing for profit, I'm always amazed how many people aren't. And that's because they look around at their competitors, what other people are charging, or what they think the market can bear, especially in like the current state of the economy. They'll tend to lower their prices because they think people can't afford it. And that's coming again from a place of lack or disempowerment. So we really need to have empowered pricing in our business. The second one is having a premium offer. Now, premium can mean different things to different people, and it depends at what stage of business you're at. Like I say, if you're not getting regular clients and you're not making a profit at the moment, then to be honest, just having an offer around 2,000 would be a premium offer. Whereas, if you're already at 6 figures and you want to go to multi 6 figures, then maybe having 100k or more offer is a premium offer for you. So premium means different things depending on what stage of business you're at. But having at least one premium offer in your offer suite is really important. And I'm not against having low ticket offers, but you do need to understand that you need volume for that. And for the most people out there who have a successful business are using that more for lead generation and not to make the bulk of their income. So again, you need to be aware of what you're offering and making sure that what you offer is something that you really enjoy doing and that really lights you up, because again, energy makes a big difference. So how you show up and how you embody what you do is really important to your clients. And then the third element in this is using strengths-based strategies. So as I said before, I don't teach a specific way to do marketing or a specific business model, but I do help my clients see what works for them based on their strengths and their talents. And I mentioned before, I use Sacred Money Archetypes. I also use Wealth Dynamics. And it is about understanding your relationship between the two to help you grow your business. And all of these things impact how you show up, your energy, and therefore your confidence, and how magnetic you are to your clients and to allow the money to flow into your business. I want to talk about Karen very briefly here. Karen came to me a number of years ago now. She'd come out of corporate and created a business where she basically kind of did what she did in corporate, but just gone self-employed. And she ended up working for one corporate client, more or less as a project manager. And she was behaving and acting like an employee, and was being treated like one without having the benefits of being an employee. And so she was in the worst of both worlds, because she didn't really have a business and now she wasn't properly employed either. And when I worked with Karen, we looked at how to increase her prices, how to reduce her hours, and put in very strong boundaries around what she was willing to do and what she wasn't willing to do. She trained up other members of staff to do the bits that she felt wasn't her zone of genius. We helped her like I say, have strong boundaries around working with this client so she could work with a couple of other clients. And, you know, what she said to me was, she was earning really good money, but, you know, again, it was so hard. And what this allowed her to do was earn more money, working less hours, and just having so much more fulfillment in her work, because she was doing the work that really lit her up, and she was letting go of all the other work as well. And this is what I say about owning your value. It's, you know, you need to work on your relationship with money, but it's also about working on yourself and the value that you bring and doing what really lights you up. So let me ask you, what are you secretly afraid of? Is it being ridiculed for claiming to be an expert? You know, maybe you don't feel you're at that level yet. Or maybe you are an expert, but you've built a business. That means in order to earn more, the only way you can see that you can do that is by working harder. And you're afraid that you might end up, you know, with illness or burnout. Or maybe you've got, you know, you've recognized you've got some guilt and shame around money, or you've got other beliefs or stories that are going on around money and around wealthy people that is stopping you having the money flow into you. And again, I want to just briefly talk about Clarin. So Clarin came to me. Her business was loss making at the time, and you know, we worked together a bit on her money mindset, and again about owning her value. And again, when she saw what the extent of her knowledge and how to package that up in a way that she could present that value out into the world, she, you know, increased her prices overnight dramatically. She got new clients signing up very easily. And, you know, I think she got over 500% return on investment for working with me, based on just how she shifted the way she presented her work. And again, she embodied what she was doing. She embodied that being an expert in her field. And she really is, because she's had years of experience behind her. So let me ask you, are you finally ready to break through your money blocks and accelerate your income flow so that you can start focusing on living your purpose instead? Now, if what I've been sharing is resonating with you, then I have a very special invitation. It's called the Quantum Wealth Accelerator, and it's designed to shatter your money glass ceiling and quantum leap your income. Now, this is a 4-month program. It has 12 modules with guiding videos and workbooks. There are 8 calls with me, plus messenger support and a group community support group. The current level of investment is 4 payments of £395, or if you want to save yourself £330, you can pay £12.50 upfront. So, as I said, if this is resonating with you, then let's begin your transformation. Just reach out to me on Facebook Messenger or send me an email at karen@karenrevell.com, and I'll send you more details about the program. And if it's the right fit for you, then we can get started. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you've got real value out of this presentation, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.